Alright, what's up YouTube? Justin from Team Misplay here. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Dekeyzer and I headed back from San Antonio. And want to do a quick video just about tips from a head judge on what to do, what not to do for experienced and inexperienced players at a regional tournament or any tournament. So, JD, first off, what are important things to do, not to do at a tournament?
Well, first and foremost, when a judge talks, it's a pretty good idea to listen. Obviously, that differs from judge to judge. Some judges just talk nonsense, and others are probably saying important things. You gotta take your meta into consideration, wherever you're from, whatever you're doing. Let's see. Some key things. And it's usually a good idea to get a new pack of sleeves and put your deck in those sleeves. You never know if a sleeve could be considered marked. It's very easy to have a sleeve be considered marked. So it's usually just a good investment. Spend the $5, get a new pack of sleeves. Not only will you have enough to sleeve your main deck, but you'll have some extra sleeves in case something busts and you need to swap out on the spot, on the fly. Pen and paper. I know a lot of people use calculators and dueling apps for their needs, but pencil and paper is so much easier to recreate any game, or actually any match. Plus, it's just a good way to keep track, keep notes for yourself. So if you ever do decide to make a tournament report, it's just easier to recreate the game from your own perspective and give an even better report for people to read about.
Quick question.
Yeah.
As far as taking notes, I know there's a new kind of stigma on note taking during a match. What would be, I guess, acceptable and unacceptable in note taking?
Acceptable note taking. We were teaching Monster Diet earlier in the turn, and you want to remember to activate the effect at the end of your turn. That's an acceptable note to take. Life points. How you lost them, how you gained them. That's definitely a very acceptable note to take. Also helps with your tournament reports. Unacceptable notes. Writing down the cards in your opponent's hand after Trap Dust Shoot or Mind Crush. That's definitely not allowed. It's actually outlined in policy that that's not allowed. So don't do it. That's bad. Okay?
Okay. Any other tips for experienced or inexperienced?
I'm quite aware that it is part of the game, the mental game of Yu-Gi-Oh! To take shortcuts and kind of take advantage of those shortcuts later in the game. Most of us experienced judges are quite aware of that, and we take that with a grain. We take that into consideration. Don't get too used to it, because us experienced judges, we know those tricks. We've seen them extensively used, and we know how to combat those tricks. So don't even think about it. If it helps on the slower players, then it works. For you experienced players, you're always entitled to an appeal. Our floor judges, or I train my floor judges to be as confident as possible in making their rulings to convey their points. But that doesn't mean they're always right. I had a judge today, luckily I was looking over his shoulder, but he made an incorrect ruling. Asked him to clarify the situation behind it, and I was able to intervene before the game got too out of hand and fix the game state. So always remember, you have a chance to appeal, and always get the head judge involved when you're just not quite sure. If you thought you heard wrong or heard differently, you might want to get investigated, because maybe you did. That's pretty much the basics of it right there.
Okay. And as far as, I guess, a simple clarification between having coaching and having common knowledge and explanations on cards that may or may not have been played, or cards that can be activated, specifically involving fishing for information and things of that nature.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Anything physically written on the card is public knowledge. And anything that is public knowledge can be recited by a judge if requested. For example, there's a face-down monster on the field, and you happen to know it's, let's say, man-eater bug, for clarification, for simplicity's sake. You don't remember if that's 500 defense or 600 defense. You could ask the judge, hey, what's the defense on man-eater bug? And he can tell you it's 600 defense. Another thing that people don't realize is that a judge can also cite official rulings that has been published by Konami. So anything from back to Cruising Crisis, when they started making official rulings. I think that's right. If you just don't know how Debris Dragon works, you can ask, what are the rulings for Debris Dragon?
And that's with or without Debris Dragon having been played.
Correct. They just randomly come out in another duel. Hey, by the way, just wondering, how does Debris Dragon work? What are the rulings on Debris Dragon? And the judge can let you know this is what Debris Dragon does.
Okay. Anything else that you can think of off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head, but I'm always open for questions.
Alright.
Yes, just a comment or post on the video, and Justin will get those to me and I can answer back.
Alright, cool. Remember, again, questions, especially involving tournament play, JD's a great person to ask, and I'll be sure to get him the information and respond as quickly as possible. Be sure to thumbs up and subscribe, and remember, it's not a pro play unless it's a misplay.